Hello everyone, Justin Jihyo back with you again. We are back with Jihyo's Zone album. I'm going to be finishing it off here. We've got Room and Nightmare. Now, as far as Nightmare goes, of course I've heard it. I've heard it live 2 times already, twice. And she does a staggeringly good job on it, but I'm looking forward to hearing the entire thing, hearing the full production behind it, really hearing all of the extra sounds and the ad-libs, the background vocals, just everything coming together at once. And I will say, as far as Nightmare goes, now that the album is out and Killin' Me Good is out, if she goes on tour, I'm going to say this right now, if they go back on tour in a couple of weeks to Europe and Southeast Asia, and she starts doing Killin' Me Good instead of Nightmare, I'm going to be very, very upset. And even though I probably won't be able to afford the trip, I really, really hope they come back for an LA encore so that she does Killin' Me Good in the US. I really want that to happen. I probably won't be able to make the trip. I very, very, very likely will not be able to make the trip. But if she does Killin' Me Good, if she switches up her solo stage for the tour in this second leg of it, in the second part of the tour, now that the album has been released and the title track has been released, I'm going to be really irritated if all of you guys who are in Europe and Southeast Asia get to see her do Killin' Me Good, and I don't. I'm going to be really upset and really jealous. So if she does it there, then I'm hoping they come back to the U.S. again so that she can do it here. But anyways, we're going to go ahead and get into these 2 songs. Link to the original videos will be in the description below. Please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe as you see fit. Again, I haven't heard anything of these 2 songs. I'm sorry. I have heard Nightmare. I've heard Nightmare. I apologize. I have heard Nightmare. But, yeah, I haven't heard the studio version yet. So let's get into this. I like the chill sound, but I was looking for something a little bit more fast paced here. If I'm being honest, it almost feels like too much of a slower album here and too much of a lighter album. Maybe it'll pick up a little bit later on, but I was kind of looking for a little bit bigger sound. I like the guitar. It's the most prominent. I think it's the guitar. And like I said, I like her. I like hearing the softer side of her voice. I really do. This is a very chill, feels like a song you would cruise to. Maybe in the evening, not like in the middle of the day. Like this is what you would cruise to like when the sun is setting. Sit around the house, relax, of course on it. Strings at the end right there. I like the strings at the end. 채워진 것들을 비워내려 목적지 없이 걷다 머릿속 생각은 지워도 떠나 나를 찾아 떠나고파 아픈 기억을 딛고 다시 올라가 I'm going my own way I'm going my own way 굳게 잡은 맘에 미끄러져 버네 이 방을 아무로만 곁들일래 이 길의 근처엔 다시 이 방이야 있는 힘껏 뛰어봐도 같은 자리야 밝아진 너와 그만한 흔적들 아직은 다 지우지 못했나 봐 What can I do Of course, this is in her native language, so it's not like this is a stretch for her or anything difficult. But I like the speed and rhythm that she's moving along the melody and the arrangement here. I like the sounds of that. Right here. Yeah, the way the harmonizing vocals come in as the chorus begins, I swear I'm just imagining like I said, just kind of sitting around the house and relaxing, and whenever or like maybe driving down the road. Don't do this if you're driving, but just leaning the seat back and just relaxing whenever that part hits. It sounds and feels so relaxing. It really does, and I like it. Right there. Get it, Queen. I'm not coming back to this room. I thought she was saying I do come back to this room. That's interesting. I can't wait to see the lyrics. I'm not coming back to this room. Coming back to this room. Not coming back to this room. Okay, so I didn't have a whole lot to say about that as it was going along. I definitely want to see the lyrics. And the violin, the strings anyway, followed from the first time that I noticed them, followed all the way through to the end of the song. So as I listen to the lyrics, I'm going to be trying to listen to see if it was earlier in the song and maybe I was focused on different things, because I didn't remember hearing those strings until we got to the end of the first chorus there, like the last line or two of the first chorus, and then they just followed all the way through the song, which surprised me. So I'm wondering if they were featured throughout the song and maybe I was just listening for other things at the beginning. So I'm interested in that. And yeah, it feels like a lot of it feels like a lot of like Closer and Wishing on You are like, I want to get closer to you, I want to be with you, and then don't want to go back. And Room almost feel like, hey, that was a previous chapter in my life, it's time for me to move on. And I wonder if the lyrics are going to reflect that. So let's go ahead and get into this. I think it starts in the chorus.
시간 뱉으며 세워진 것들을 비워내려 목적지 없이 걷다 머릿속 생각은 지워도 떠나 나를 찾아 떠나고파 아픈 기억을 끼고 다시 올라가 I'm going my own way I'm going my own way 그게 자꾸 맘이 미끄러져 버네 이 방울함을 너만 곁들일래 이 길을 그쳐 왜 다시 이 방이야 있는 힘껏 뛰어봐도 같은 자리야 가진 너와 그 많은 흔적들 아직은 다 치우지 못했나 봐 What can I do What can I do 흘러가네
I like how the instrumental kind of pulls back at that part right there and then comes back in again. It almost accentuates the emotion of this, you know, leaving the past behind. It's kind of that empty moment where you're in between the past and the future, and you're just kind of sitting there reminiscing. What can I do? What can I do? And then when the music comes back in, it's almost like you're walking away from the past. You're hitting the present, and in the present, you're just kind of you have that breath, you have that moment where you're just sitting there and you're just, you know, thinking about things. And then it feels like whenever the music starts back up again, or whenever it gets into the chorus, it's like you took that breath, you're walking away from the past, you stop, and then it's time to move forward. It's like, okay, I took a breath, you know, gave one last thought to this, and now I'm moving forward. That's a very interesting way to do it musically. At least that's how I take it. That's how I take it. I wonder if anybody else sees it the same way. Tell me in the comments if you see it the same way. I'm curious.
What can I do? 흘러가네 시간의 흐름이 그대로 아름답길 I'm not coming back to this room 또다시 나와 마주한 딜레마 꿈에도 난 다시 이겨낼 수 있단 말야 후회가 밀려와 집어삼켜도 I'm not coming back to this room Coming back to this room 시간의 흐름이 그대로 아름바람답도록 I'm not coming back to this room Not coming back, coming back Not coming back, coming back Not coming back, coming back to this room Not coming back, coming back Not coming back, coming back Not coming back, coming back to this room
I like the way that they put the echo on that last line, by the way, and how the last measure of the song they did it without the instrumentation. Just let her kind of put the finality on this. This is hitting me harder with the reading the lyrics and everything like that, and I kind of understood, like I said, the first time when I was just hearing the audio, and just kind of the emotion of the song and the setting. The violin really adds to the emotion. The strings there really add to the emotion, and yeah, just kind of the finality of things like that. And I don't mean to completely make this literal to this room, but when I wasn't living for the Lord, I shared this room right here with my ex-fiance, who's now dead, and you know, I had to keep coming back to this room because physically this is my house. So, but at the same time, once I moved past like her death, I'm not going back to that place emotionally where I'm like clinging to the feelings that we had while she was alive and while we were together. I'm not going back to that place again. It won't do any good. It won't do any good at all. And in the same type of vein, I believe that she feels this way about a relationship that has now ended, and that she's moving away. She's not coming back to this room. I do think that she means this in a physical sense, but equally I believe she means it in an emotional sense, where I'm not coming back to this place emotionally. And I can very much relate to that, because that was the most intimate relationship I've ever had in my life. Like I said, we were engaged, living together, all of this, and we were in this bedroom. So yeah, I bought this house for me and her, thinking that we were going to start a family. I'm in a 3-bedroom house by myself right now. So yeah, I think about that in a physical sense, because that's where you shared those memories with that person, but also in an emotional sense. You're not going back to that place because it's over now. So this is a really nice. I did not expect this from this album, because I know what Nightmare sounds like. Nightmare is a more pulse pounding type of sound, a more heavy type of sound, but I wasn't expecting this much. I wasn't expecting such an emotionally heavy album. I really wasn't. And I can understand it. I can understand it because I didn't expect Jihyo to go a full K-pop route. But at the same time, I don't know that you would call this a K-pop album. Personally, I don't know that you would call this a K-pop album at all. So it's very intriguing to me, the decisions that were made for the compositions, the lyrics, the overall style of the album. Like I said, I've said before that she did 3 soundtracks last year: Stardust Love Song, I Fly, and A Strange Day. I liked Stardust Love Song, I loved I Fly, and I kind of hated A Strange Day. I think I've listened to it 3 times total, and 2 of them are videos that I reacted to on this channel. But I Fly, I think, fit her so well, and that is not a K-pop song. It's not a K-pop song at all. So stylistically, for what I think she fits the most into, this album really is that. But I can't say that I expected that to be her first step forward as a solo artist. And I'm saying this now because, like I said, I know how Nightmare sounds. I haven't read all of the lyrics for Nightmare, so I want to go back so that I can hear the studio production of all this and really hear everything. Although they played the studio version. Obviously, it wasn't. I don't think it was live. The live band doing this for her solo stage at the tour. But yeah, I guess I'm kind of giving my overall album review now. The last video that I did with Wishing on You and Don't Want to Go Back, I think, are my favorites. I think Room probably hits me the most. And I will say, for anybody that is watching and listening to this much of me talking right now, I appreciate anyone and everyone that says, wow, I'm so sorry for your loss and things like that. I can't remember the last time that I cried or even got emotional over my ex. Like, I really have moved past it at this point. I wish she was alive, but I think that we needed to move past each other, and the more that I think about it and the further away that I get from it, I feel that more and more. I tried to hold on to something that I shouldn't have, and tried way too hard to hold on to it, and boy did I have a hard time for probably close to a year after she died, because like I said, that was the person I was the closest to in my life. So but now, there's really not much left at all as far as that goes. But again, I wish that she was still alive. She was a great person, or else I wouldn't have done so much for her and tried so hard for her. But we needed to move past each other. So that song Room, that might be it. It might be almost like the album between 1 and 2, where all 4 of the up-tempo B-sides, Brave, Trouble, Basics, and Gone, are my favorites with the album. But and Queen of Hearts, I kind of put it in its own category to an extent. And When We Were Kids, I also put into its own category because that is just a special song. That is just a very special song. I lost my ex-fiance in her 20s. I lost my best friend, my best childhood friend in his 20s to drugs. So, When We Were Kids hits me extra hard. And I don't really equate that. It kind of sits on its own. I think Room for me is just going to kind of sit on its own. It just has its own special place. And whenever I talk to someone about this album or when I reminisce about this album, I think that I'm going to be talking about the other songs, and then Room is just going to kind of have its own place. Sorry for talking so much. Let's go ahead and get into Nightmare. I love when those drums come in right there because it's the same thing that happens whenever the chorus hits, and I can't wait to hear it.
Nightmare. 아무도 몰래 값없이 시작돼버린 너의 제준 아스린 넌 멈출 줄을 모르고 새까만 시야 위부여게 가린 널 글로만 숨긴 채
I like this particular measure right here. Right there. She kind of had a little bit more vocal cry on it and kind of curved into the end of the line right here, into those notes. I like what she does in the next part a little bit more than I like this part right here, but she's trying to convey emotion through this whole thing, and I like the effort on that. I do like the second part of this measure right here a little bit more than the first part that we played right here. I'll go back to this part. I don't like that quite as much. I like this next part a little bit more. She's just a little bit more sharp with those notes, a little bit more clean with them than the previous line, and I like that just a little bit more. I like those distortions in the background. See, this is why I wanted to hear this. I don't remember this from the live part. I don't know if it was there. Maybe people were cheering. Maybe her vocals were just too strong and I couldn't hear the background music as much. I like that distorted sound right here. All right, just before we get into the chorus, I'll go back 5 seconds. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for how much I'm talking in this video, by the way. I really like how much emotion she puts into all of this, and how much she is, it's a heavier sound. It really is. It's a heavier sound, and I think of her as an artist. In her truest sense, I think of her as an artist a little bit more than an idol. She's an amazing idol. I consider her to be the queen of K-pop. She's the leader of the national girl group. By definition, I think she's the queen of K-pop. But, and she does an amazing job as an idol. Strong vocalist, strong dancer, stage presence unmatched. Period. Stage presence unmatched on Jihyo. But I think of her in her truest form as an artist just a little bit more than an idol. She can absolutely do the role of an idol, and she did with Killing Me Good. You need to be an idol to have that type of performance and keep up with that choreography and everything like that. But this type of stuff, I see her as an artist the most.
fear of so hurry from away from me. Nightmare, nightmare, I'm your nightmare, I'm your can't escape, I'm your nightmare, I'm your nightmare, nightmare. 거칠은 너의 얼굴 위로 하나씩 괴롭혀가 cross on you. Can't escape, I'm your nightmare, I'm your nightmare,
Yeah.
nightmare.
I really like the layered vocals in the chorus. Again, in the live performance, maybe she was just drowning them out too much, so I couldn't hear too much in the background. I could hear some of the melody, some of the instrumentation, but she was just so powerful in the live performance, and everybody around me was screaming because of the power of her voice. I really like the layered vocals in the chorus there.
Nightmare. 그 입에서 새어나온 수많은 새빨간 light. 닫힌 맘 그대로 just for you. 미동 없는 말 뻔둥이 흔들리는 두 동공이 날 미쳐 날뛰게 해. I don't want you to wake up 이대로 all night and day. 점점 커지는 heartbeat 더욱더 조여 꼼짝 못하게 해.
Get that distortion sound again in there.
이밤 영원한 nightmare 속에 기억해봤자 한 개뿐인 걸 고요함이 곁든 짙어진 fog. 빠르게 뛰어서 hurry from away from me. Nightmare, nightmare, I'm your nightmare, I'm your can't escape, I'm your nightmare, I'm your nightmare, nightmare. 거칠은 너의 얼굴 위로 하나씩 괴롭혀가 cross on you. Can't escape, I'm your nightmare, I'm your nightmare, nightmare, night. What can I do? I'm your nightmare, I'm your nightmare. 설레는 나보낸 혼란의
This sounds so good live.
즐겁 따위는 없는 광활한 밤속.
Love how she pairs with the background vocal on that. Oh wow, I didn't know it was already done. Okay, I'm very interested in the lyrics for this. I want to see how heavy the lyrics are. Of course, I already know the chorus, except for that one line that's done in Korean.
Nightmare. 아무도 몰래 값없이 시작돼버린 너의 제출. 아슬이 넌 멈출 줄을 모르고 새까만 시야 윗부여게 가린 널 글로 날 숨긴 채 바라봐. 매일 번져가는 괴로움 거대한 악몽으로 나오는 널 집어삼켜 걷던 내게 이밤 영원한 nightmare 속에 모두 잠든 밤 비로소 돌고린 묘함이 닫힌 깊어진 night. 빠르게 뛰어서 hurry from away from me. Nightmare. 뛰어서 hurry from away from me. Nightmare, nightmare, I'm your nightmare, I'm your can't escape, I'm your nightmare, I'm your nightmare, nightmare. 거칠은 너의 얼굴 위로 하나씩 괴롭혀가 cross on you. Can't escape,
See, lines like that, and it might be because I'm looking for Korean, and I just didn't notice it. But just a moment ago, hurry, run away from me. I think I heard the from me, but I don't think I heard the rest. And then right here, Curse on You. I didn't catch that as being an English line.
이대로 all night and day 점점 커지는 heartbeat 더욱더 조여 꼼짝 못하게 해 널 집어삼켜 걷어나게 이밤 영원한 nightmare 속에 기억해봤자 한 개뿐인 걸 고요함이 곁든 짙어진 fog 빠르게 뛰어서 hurry from away from me
So I would consider any Nightmare of Jihyo to be more like a dream. But yeah, those are some heavy lyrics. Fog with Silence, Midnight, Curse on You, Can't Escape. Very heavy song, and that's kind of what I thought it was going to be, especially just because of the chorus, you know, as much as I was able to understand before you know, reading the lyrics. But yeah, heavy stuff. I thought about this today because I knew I was going to finish the album tonight. I thought about this today, and I'm wondering if anybody else feels this way. Somebody let me know in the comments if they feel this way. And maybe I'm overthinking this because she's a professional, she's a performer, she's an artist, she's an idol. It almost feels like there's no going back. This album feels very heavy. It feels very emotional. It almost feels like seeing her perform Heartshaker from now on, performing What Is Love, performing Likey, stuff like that. It feels like all of that is, even like Scientist, something a little bit newer. It feels like it's all going to be just different. It feels like it's all going to hit differently because she was able to move away from Twice specifically and do this project on her own that she was given a lot of control over. She wrote 4 of the 7, I believe. 4 of the 7 songs on the album, maybe 5, I think 4. And she had hands in a majority of the songs, I believe, as well. And it just feels like this is her. And this is completely different from what you hear in Twice. So it's very intriguing to me. I almost want to go to, of course I want to anyway, but I almost want to go to a concert like tomorrow and just see her. And really, I guess the album was done, obviously was done already before the concerts before, but I wasn't looking at it through that lens. I wasn't looking at it through the scope of what I am now. So I'm wondering how I'll feel the next time I see her perform, you know, TT or something like that. or like Signal, which she always dances to, and I love the dance for Signal. It's so much fun to watch. I wonder how I'm going to feel after seeing this side of her, and I wonder if that's something that's going to cross her mind as well. Again, she already had everything recorded before they came to America for the tour, at least, maybe even before they started the tour in Korea and Japan prior to coming to the U.S. like this May. But I'm just wondering if I'm wondering if she thinks of it in this way, like, oh, everybody saw this side of me, and now here I am, going back to performing Ua and Titi and and stuff like that. So, and Cheer Up. And so I'm just curious about that, and I'm curious if anybody else feels the same. Tell me what your favorite song was on this album now that we're done. Tell me what your favorite song was. I hope this video isn't too long. The last one was like right at a half hour. This one's probably going to be more than that. I apologize. Just had a lot of feelings and a lot of thoughts with Room and just Jihyo overall and just this album overall. I really enjoyed this album. It's just different. It's just different than Nayeon's album last year. Nayeon's album, I would call it a K-pop album. I don't call this a K-pop album. I really don't. And there's nothing wrong with that. I don't consider Eyes Wide Open to be a K-pop album. I don't think 90% of the songs on Eyes Wide Open are K-pop songs. And that's my favorite Twice album. So let me know what you guys think of this album. Favorite song on it in the comments below. I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. Jesus loves you. I love you. We'll see you in the next video. And I hope you have a great day.